Chat. What's good? How's everybody's day going? We got rise and grind. Just time for coffee. Got my water. Got my coffee. Don't know if that comes across on the mic. I will need to get a separate microphone for coffee pouring sounds. Oh yeah, that's good. Well, it is time for some news. It's interesting looking at all of the news cycles and finding that the news just reports of like bad things happening all the time. I was going to try to find good things that are happening, things that we can look forward to on the news. Like Gaza, not great. Don't love that. Mass shootings, also don't love that. But sometimes I would like to look forward to reading about the news. So it's hard to find positive things that have happened. Because also they're like mired in this guise of like, oh look, there's this uplifting news story. It's like, well, that bad thing should have happened in the first place. Like a lot of the uplifting like news stories are like, oh, teen pays for elementary schools like lunches. Look how much money he raised. And it's like, well, that shouldn't like be a problem in the first place. I'm glad that that has happened, but one of the things I had found that off the deep coral reef, scientists have discovered the wonders of two newfound deep sea coral reefs off the Galapagos. That was awesome. That sounds great. Love new coral reefs being found. Take a look at the 1,000-year-old deep sea coral reefs untouched by humans. I will drop this link in the chat. This one's from MSN News. Alex, hello. Good evening. How are you? So I'm trying to find things. The deep sea still holds many mysteries for humans, and that may be a good thing. Yeah, like we have not explored all of the coral reefs. Scientists have discovered two new deep sea coral reefs located in the Galapagos Marine Reserve that have remained pristine and untouched by human explorers. These reefs, let's see here, let's move it over here so I can see chat still. The scientists are on a 30-day ocean exploration using remote controlled deep water robots led by the team, blah 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 blah. So cool. And they have pictures of what it looks like for, I don't know, us not to fuck up the planet. I'm sure there's microplastics down there and other things, so it's not completely untouched, but this was one of the nice uplifting stories that I found, because yeah, Israel Gaza thing happening, not great, not good, but deep sea coral reef untouched sounds pretty good. What's the other thing that I found? Oh, this was the other thing that was really interesting. Cancer cells and viruses. So oftentimes people think that like, oh, cancer bad, and it's like, yes, cancer is bad. But the thing that they found was that researchers found that human cancer cells might slurp up bacteria-killing viruses for energy. Interesting. Like, that's pretty cool. Human cancer cells might slurp up bacteria-killing viruses for energy. This is sciencenews.org. I'll drop this one in chat as well, too, and I'll put it into the link of the video description on YouTube. So if you're following on YouTube, go ahead and press that follow button. Like, it's interesting to think that cancer cells can be useful in some way, and that we can develop, to his surprise, Barr found that mammalian cancer cells grow in the lab, but use the viruses as the food source. The results published on October 26th show that it's possible for mammalian cells to use bacteria-killing viruses as fuel. Meaning normal non-cancerous cells could do it too, though this remains to be seen, is like the potential hypothesis here. Really interesting. So I thought this was like a really good read as well too. I may start reading like full articles, but one of the things I wanted to do on the first show here is have a nice coffee, read some news, because I like reading the news anyways. There is also Gene's revolution in Belarus. This was a non-violent means for protest. Drop the link in chat here. Where was this? They do this from time to time, so it's pretty good. Few other like non-violent things. Palestinian workers strike. The other striking thing that I actually think I'm shocked is only happening in 2023, that we'd have such human rights violations like this. There's a landmark case in Japan about trans rights, and it's very, very good for this, because the thing in Japan that I didn't know from reading these articles was that in Japan, if you came out as, if I'm reading this correctly, is that in Japan, if you came out as a transgender person, hello Epic Fingerpinks, and if you came out as a trans person, you would be legally required to be sterilized, and that's wild. So now it has recently come out that this is unconstitutional and a violation of, like, I don't know, human rights or whatever. So this is a significant move forward for Japan, and I'm under the previous law, transgender individuals who wanted their identity documents amended had to meet several requirements. They had to be diagnosed with gender identity disorder, be at least 18, be unmarried, without any underage children. They also had to have the correct opposite sex gender organs and have no reproductive capability. This means they had to undergo invasive procedures, including sterilization and like gender reassignment surgery. Wild that would stand, that would be a thing that's being fixed in 2023. I'm so glad that it has come forward that this is unconstitutional to require invasive surgery. Absolutely wild. It's like the thing in Iran, I think in Iran, where if you come out as gay, they give you gender reassignment surgery, because it's not that you're like the what now? Yeah, exactly. Here's the things. New landmark case. Let's see here. Click. Japan court rules it's unconstitutional to require transgender sterilization in landmark case. Yeah, absolutely wild in 2023 that we would stand for such like human rights violations. In Iran, they are still doing, I believe they are still doing, if you come out as gay, you have to have gender reassignment surgery. It's fucking wild. Just leave people alone. But here's the links to the news for Rise and Grind that we're doing this morning. I'm having a coffee, I'm reading some news. Well, it's not morning, but you get the idea. I was going to do this for about 30 minutes, and these were some of the articles that I had found while doing some research for this, because the show doesn't just like happen like that. And the biggest thing that I found when looking things up, because some of the articles are like Detroit synagogue murder, Hurricane Norma makes landfall as a category 1 hurricane, Air France pilot's death, zoo worker bitten by rattlesnake, teen climbs Mount Kilimanjaro at age 16. It's like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. Made like people climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't know that it's like a worldwide newsworthy story, but here we are. So, Soy's friend, hello. We're doing Rise and Grind. I'm having a coffee and reading some news. You can see previously in the chat that I will have linked some, and I will put this on YouTube as well with the appropriate links of the articles. But if other people have news, please feel free to step forward and say something. I'm trying to also play some hopefully not DMCA-able music in the background here, just very softly. So we're chilling.
Right. Don't tell
him. Don't tell me. Don't do it. But yeah, like these are interesting things. One of the horrifying things that I saw, A study reveals that pumping cold water in rivers could act as air conditioning for fish. You know how we pump cold water into rivers? It's called runoff from glaciers. Oh, wait. Like, because we have fucked up the planet so badly. This is sciencenews.org. Here's the link. This is one of the ones that I had found. Swiss friend, need help in Brotato. Give me just a little bit. And I would be happy to be a part. Did that not link appropriately? What the hell? Weird. Salmon may have their own version of air conditioning. This past summer, hundreds of fish in the Wright River of Nova Scotia found reprieve from the heat in human-generated plumes of cold water. Wait. We're going to spend energy to cool water so we make our carbon footprint bigger? I mean, I understand that, like, yeah, sure, like, we fucked up the planet so badly, but, like, shouldn't we just have the glaciers have cold water? Off after climate. Ah, got it. Thank you. Copy. Paste. Because now then I can go back and look at the chat and do the thing. Ah, thank you. So this one is supposed to be like an uplifting story of like, oh, look. We're doing like good things for the planet. Like we're helping the fish. And to me, it just sounds kind of horrifying and a dystopian nightmare that we would have to pump cold water into rivers that are supposed to be cold already because we've ruined the planet so badly. And it probably ruins the planet even worse because it's not like a renewable source of energy to create this like cold water for the fish. So this was like a weird article that I had found while looking up like news for us to read about. Like the plume attracted several hundred fish varying of lifestyle and species, including Atlantic salmon and brown trout. Most were juvenile fish that occupied the plume throughout the test, but when the heat wave brought on a maximum water temperature of about 30 C, more mature fish also took shelter in the plume. They set up like a barrier of rocks and then pumped water into it to have this like cold section of water where all the rest of the river wasn't there. For a pump-free approach, the team also routed some water from the river into an underground trench where it cooled before re-entering the river. Okay, well that's like kind of interesting. Though this method lowered the water temperature by only a few degrees, fish were observed frequenting the passively cooled flow throughout the summer. More work lies ahead to determine how many of these sites would be needed to be constructed sustained to significantly benefit fish populations. You know what can sufficiently benefit fish populations? Probably not burning so much like carbon. It's like that was a wild one. Because I tried to find articles that are like uplifting, but none of these are like uplifting. Just was like, whoa, man, reading the news, I see why like. Can you show the article on stream? Sure. I think I can. Let's do it like this. And like this. I'll just do... What do we do this? Computer screen, take off. This is new show. We're working it out. We're working out the kinks. I got the snipping tool here. So this is a section of the article. Because they have all this advertising all over here. Good for them. People can get the click through, but I don't know the best way to display this or whatever. I just put my face up and we're working through it. The news from Japan is very uplifting, but it's also very horrifying that it was a thing that we would like sterilize people. This is like in the 50s where they would lobotomize people, and it's like, oh no. So I'm glad we're like moving off of it. That's for fuck sure. Holy shit. This is the science one about fish and how we pump cold water in, and that's good for them. And it's like, yeah, because the water shouldn't be 30 Celsius. Like the water getting up to 30 Celsius when we had the heat dome a few years ago, like, oof. Also, South Africa won the Rugby Cup. Sure. Sounds fucking awesome. If you love rugby, go for it. I'm not a big sportser. Large study of migraine sufferers has uncovered commonalities that might lead to potential treatment. This was another one that I found. So I don't know how many news articles we can read in like 30 minutes or other things, but this was, let's go to Science Daily, I guess, is probably the like least offensive of these links. Oh no, Mayo Clinic. It's probably pretty good too. Oh God, my whole browser is crashing now. Browsing the internet is just, ugh. Yep. Now my whole browser has crashed, so I can't see Twitch chat. Ugh, there we go. I'm not a big sportster who's played curling. That's different. That's a lifestyle choice. True. I also played racquetball with my buddy. Like, hold on, give me one sec, chat. Hey, we have good news about our cat from the vet. So I'm gonna go talk to my partner about that after this segment. Let's see here. What is this? The Science Daily. Where were we? Put it back together. Boo this man. You gotta save your points for the right moment. The International Consortium of leading migraine scientists identified more than 120 regions of the genome that are connected to risk of migraine. That sounds awesome. Oh yeah, let's put the article on screen. Whoop. Full story. This little small section here. 17k points. Hey man, they go quick, okay? At 1500 a pop, they go quick. The groundbreaking study helps researchers better understand the biological basis of migraines and its subtypes, and could speed up the search for new treatment of the condition, which affects over 1 billion. So like what, 1 in 7 people? How many, what's the population? Worldwide pop, what's like this? Pop, 8.1 billion. So 1 in 8 people. Oh, that's a lot of people. Every 8th person you've seen has had like a migraine or suffers from migraines. Wow. In the largest genome study yet, researchers have more than tripled the number of known genetic risk factors for migraine. Wow. That's huge. The study involved leading migraine research groups in Europe and had more than 873,000 study participants, 100,000 of whom had migraines. Or maybe had a migraine at the time. That's weird. Like, the new findings published on February 3rd in the journal Nature Genetics also uncovered more of the genetic architecture of migraine subtypes than was previously known. Ooh. It's like, the only way I can describe it, and I've only had it a couple times, is like the worst hangover, but for your, like, for me, it's for like my eyeballs. It's like right here centered. I can't look at things. I can't like really listen to things. It's like 10x worse than the worst hangover I've ever had. It was crippling, absolutely crippling. And people are like, oh, well, like, can't be that bad. It's just a bad headache. Talk to me when you get a kidney stone. Like, tell me about how it's just, you know, not that bad. Like, do not lessen other people's experiences. So yeah, this was an incredible like news article. Let's find like one more, and I dropped that in chat too, so I can go get that later. What was the other one? Yeah, like this one. Local car community comes together. No, I hate cars. Cars are awful. I do not want to hear about that. Okay, cool. Explorers become the first ever to row Arctic Northwest Passage. Boom. This one is interesting. Where did that, I had the link. Where, wait, what? Oh, there we go. Texas Explorer leads team to become the first ever to row the Arctic, blah, 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 blah. Let's put this up on screen. I don't like sharing my whole screen, so I'll do it through this. The snipping tool. Described as one of the great firsts, the passage of the Atlantic to the Pacific through the Canadian Arctic was, for the first time ever, rowed by an expedition of 3 men and 1 woman. This is actually, wait a second. I thought this was uplifting and neat. You shouldn't be able to row that passage, should you? Like, shouldn't that be covered in ice year round? Like, wait a second. That's my problem with like all these articles, right? Like all these news articles. I want to like read some things that are uplifting, but then I read it and I think about it for a second. I go, is it good? It is 1,600 miles with a team of 83. They rode it. So they were like being fed stuff, and it's 1,600 miles. Where do they sleep? How do they sleep? Do they just pull over? Interesting. Northwest Passage had been crossed in boats many times before. In 1990, it was traversed by Jonathan Waterman, an explorer who used almost every mode of non-motorized transportation you can think of. 2018, Hansen was putting together Arctic Cowboys team and raised money and accumulated Primarily, the wind is the biggest concern in this. We prepped for snow, ice, and rain, but the wind will create choppy waves and difficult paddling. Here's their like... Where's the snipping tool? Snipping tool, come back. Here's their like crew. They paddled in this thing for 1,600 miles. Holy. That's incredible. Worst headache of your life. Hallucination of spiral colors. Thanks to those headaches, my tolerance of normal headaches is extremely high. Ooh. Yeah, your pain tolerance must be very high. I do not have a high pain tolerance, but this is like interesting. So they're pushing the limits and testing limits what can be done, but I'm kind of horrified that like it's not just covered in ice and says it can't be done, because shouldn't this all be covered in ice all year round? Like it's so far north, but all the ice next to like Greenland and in Canada and in that northern area is like gone at portions of the year. So I don't know. It's about 30 minutes. Chat thoughts, comments, questions. Oh yeah, I need to keep that link around for the YouTube thing later. I did also let's see here. So back here, we'll come back here. We'll sip on some coffee. Oh, I hate needles. Ugh, yeah. Went to the dentist this morning. I actually don't mind the dentist. I think I've had reasonably good dentist experiences to the point I kind of just fall asleep. I just close my eyes and like take a nap basically while they're like digging at my teeth. But yeah, rise and grind, everybody. There's some news for the day. It's not all just Gaza and Israel like being... I'm pretty sure Israel's being more rude to Gaza in this one, but like violence is never the answer. So like, can we like not? I don't know which side of that story to be on because I haven't read enough about it, but like, here's my side that I'm on. I want violence to stop. And it seems like trapping all of Gaza on what seems to be a reservation. They don't have a port. They don't have an airport. They don't have a dock. They have to go through Israel to get out of Gaza. That seems like bad. WSG Chief, my man, Magic Wins, what's good? We just did Rise and Grind, so if you want to check it out, I found some news articles that we could read together. I read the news anyways, so I wanted to incorporate that with having a coffee with y'all and hopefully finding some uplifting news. Well, we found, this one wasn't very uplifting. They're pumping cold water into rivers because rivers are too hot and the fish are dying. So now we're going to start pumping cold water into rivers. Ugh. Largest migraine study of all time, which included like 100,000 people had migraines and 700,000 people in the study in total. It leads to genetic breakthroughs potentially for treating people with migraines, and they know more about migraines now. That's a freaking sweet article. Love that. And then the other one we read about was transgender individuals do not have to be sterilized in Japan anymore. That's an article that came out recently. So huge up, trans rights, leave people alone, let people live their lives. And then the last one we read was they paddle boated across like the North Atlantic for 1,600 miles, which is kind of horrifying because shouldn't that all be frozen over? But anyways, that's been Rise and Grind. We'll put this back up. This is my outro. Thanks for being here. Press that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Press that follow button if you're on Twitch, and we'll see you next time.